only did what I'm about to talk about yesterday, but then at the end I'll talk about some like kind of smaller scale things that you can do in your classroom, like even just tomorrow. So I follow this really awesome teacher on Instagram called Hope King. She works at a school called Ron Clark Academy that I was lucky enough to go to in the Christmas holidays, just gone. And like the way they teach over there is just, or in that school, is like pretty much all game based. Everything is turned into a game. And I thought that was really cool because I'm basically a child anyway. So why not? So they did this thing called Super Mario Day and I wanted to do it as well. And yeah, this is how I did it. So basically, it's just a way, it's game-based by the way, just a way of what we would have done in class anyway, but just more fun. So I thought of all the reading, writing and math skills that my kids needed to know in the next 2 weeks for their assignments, any exams, our DRA testing, which is our reading testing. So any skills that they needed for that we would have reviewed anyway, I put into this day that we did yesterday. So it started in period 1 and ended at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So I converted my room into like Super Mario Land. I took down all my anchor charts and everything, covered all the bulletin boards in just like cheap tablecloth from the reject shop, and then just printed out like all these bricks and question boxes like Super Mario. I had, they were just plastic plates that I sticky taped a fishing line to mimic the coins, and then just green cardboard for the tubes. So it wasn't very expensive whatsoever. I think the most expensive thing was the Princess Peach costume that I bought and wore all day to get into the spirit. Classroom management wise, I'll get into the activities in a second. I printed and laminated Yoshi eggs in blue, yellow, green and red, and they were kind of like their infringements, if you will, and their rewards. So students were given green or blue eggs for doing really good work, cleaning up their area, working well as a team because they were in pairs. But then if they were being rude, they weren't doing their work properly, they were off task, they would get a red or a yellow egg. Also, if they made careless mistakes, the whole day was timed and the team with the shortest time at the end of the day won. So that kind of sense of competition tends to make my kids rush a lot to try and win, and then they just make silly mistakes. So I said from the get-go, if they brought me their work to check and I had silly mistakes like no capitals for the start of a sentence, or they like did a subtraction, sum instead of an addition, they would get given a bad egg and they would lose a minute off or add a minute to their final time. So the good eggs took a minute off their final time and the bad eggs added a minute. So they were penalized for not being on task really. So each student was either a Mario or a Luigi. I did that also as a kind of like a behavior management and also to get the kids to, sorry that keeps ringing. Also to get the kids to partner up with people they don't usually partner with. So this girl, for example, I made all of her friends a Mario as well, so she couldn't be a partner with her best friend. And then if there were kids that I didn't want to be together, I made both of them Luigis so they couldn't partner up. So in the morning, I gave them an M or an L, and then they had to go find their partner based on what character they were. And then the activities, I've just got like a few pictures of them doing them. There's my Princess Peach costume. It was terrible, don't ever buy one, it's itchy as all. It was awful. So they had 5 levels to complete and they got more difficult as they went on. So the first level was just, they had to make a poster about their partner, all the cool information about them, a picture of them, and I've printed them off to put on the wall. The reason I did that is my class, like even though we're almost halfway through the year, they're still not as cohesive as I would like them to be. So part of the reason I made certain kids Marios and certain kids Luigis is to try and build that a little bit more. So they had to get to know their partner. Once they'd done that, they would bring me their work. I would sign off on it. They would write down their time that they completed that level in, and then I would give them the next level. I just had envelopes that I would just pass out to them for each level. Level 2 and level 3 were both math review. We're doing algebra at the moment, and they have an exam in 2 weeks. So it was just revision of our the things we learn in algebra in math. And then the last 2 stations were the hardest stations. One involved punctuating an unpunctuated piece of writing. It was really funny because I took out every full stop, every capital letter, everything. And the kids were like, I can't read this, miss. It doesn't make sense. And I'm like, it's not even any different to what you usually give me. So congratulations, you know what it's like to be me now. And then the last level, I personally really don't like fidget spinners. So I found an article on News ELA. If you don't know what News ELA is, it's basically like news articles for kids, and they're leveled based on grade level. It's really great. But there was a news article on there about fidget spinners, and it was all about how teachers hate them and occupational therapists love them. So they had to go through the article, highlight the important information, write a summary, and then write a persuasive argument to convince me that they should be allowed in the classroom, because I don't let the kids use them at the moment. And then at the end of the day, I didn't include a picture, but I had a, behind where these was, I had a Mario Kart track set up, so I just put electrical tape on the cement. And then once they finished all the levels, they were able to get on a little skateboard looking thing and race down the Mario Kart track. So yeah, that was basically Mario Day yesterday. It took a little bit of organising, a little bit of planning, but it was really, really fun. And like 99.9% of the kids really, really enjoyed it. The other 0.1% thought they would have a day of games and didn't realise work was involved. So, but other than that, it was really, really fun. And also not as like kind of hard as it looks to be. So that was my all day kind of like room transformation thing. But things on a smaller scale that I do just kind of like throughout the week. We have Jenga. These are all things like, I didn't come up with any of these, by the way. I just give credit to the other teachers, like on Instagram and Pinterest and things like that. So with Jenga, I just bought like cheap Jenga from Kmart and painted the ends of the blocks, and then each color represents a different thing, regardless, depending on what subject you're doing. So for example, in spelling activities, if we do it like the pink Jenga might represent like finding the definition, the yellow might be any Greek or Latin roots. So when they pull out the Jenga piece, they have to complete the activity that corresponds with that Jenga color, and then they just keep playing. We play Hungry Hungry Hippos, but a life-size version. Basically the same, it can be used for any subject. With the coloured balls, I'll have a worksheet that's just got 4 boxes on it, and the colour at the top. And someone will get wheeled in, they'll collect as many balls as they can, go back to their group, and then they have to answer, like, if they get 2 pink balls and a blue, they have to answer 2 pink questions and a blue question. And then they go back in and they just keep wheeling each other in. This is like a new one. We played Bean Boozled. If you don't know what it is, it's like the jelly beans that taste terrible. There's like a vomit flavour, dog food flavour, things like that. The kids had algebra task cards that they had to answer. So in their groups, they drew out a card, they all answered the question, showed each other their answers, and if anyone got it wrong, they had to spin the Bean Boozled spinner and eat the jelly bean that corresponded with where the spinner landed. And then it was just luck if they got a vomit flavour or a peach flavour. Really funny from a teacher's perspective, watching them trying to like psych themselves up to eat what could potentially be a vomit flavoured jelly bean. And they do taste pretty realistic. So also make your classroom smell really bad. So open windows if you, yeah, even the next day it smelled kind of funky. And then this is just like a cheap way to play like celebrity heads kind of. So we mostly do this to play, to review subject vocabulary. So the kids will just have cards like this and they'll hold it to their head, and then their partner will say the definition, and then they have to guess what the word is. Well, not guess, but they have to say what the word is based on the definition that their partner gave them. Yeah, the one thing that I will say about all like these game-based things, like the main takeaway would be to not let your kids have kind of like turns, and not let them have the opportunity to be out, because I've found from like personal experience, when there's turns and when they're out is when kids start to go a bit crazy because they have nothing to do. So like in any of the games that I play, like even Jenga or the Bean Boozled or anything, every single kid has to still do what that person who pulled out the Jenga or that person, like which card they pulled out, every single kid in that group has to do that question. But then, like, the consequence, if it's like a bean boozled or jelly bean or whatever, it only applies to the person whose kind of turn it was, but everyone still participates. And also, I just don't give them an option to get out. Like, if the Jenga thing falls over, they just start again until that rotation is over. Because, yeah, when they get out, or when it's not their turn, is when they start to lose the plot. But yeah, that's basically it. Is that 7 minutes? I don't know.